Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Rooney. I'm the publisher of the Revelstoke Current, and welcome to In Conversation, our periodic discussion of all things political here in our fair community. And today my guest is Doug Clovechok, who is the acclaimed BC Liberal candidate for the 2017 general election. Welcome, Doug.
Well, thank you, David. I really appreciate that and really happy to be here today.
Well, we're going to have I think a good, short but good little conversation about what's coming up. Now, you're the acclaimed candidate for the BC Liberal Party.
I am so very proud of that. Very proud.
Now, this is
excited.
You should be excited. I mean, 2017 is not that far away. I mean, we're almost halfway through 2016 already. What shape is the Riding Association in, from your point of view?
The BC Liberal Riding Association for Columbia River Revelstoke is in great shape. Financially, we're doing really well. We've been selling lots of memberships. When you look at it from a volunteer base, one of the things that we've been able to build, and I've been very active since the 2013 election, we've been able to build our volunteer base in all four of the major communities, including the rural communities. So overall, I would say that our riding association has never been stronger going into this next election, which to your point is about a year away.
Yeah. And how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling really excited. You know what, I'll tell you, needless to say, I was disappointed with the results of 2013. I'd be a liar if I told you I wasn't. But I've been working really hard since that election. I've been working on different files throughout the riding and with the help of different MLAs, BC Liberal MLAs and ministers. So I'm excited because we've been able to accomplish a lot of things in the last 3 years as a non-elected official. So I'm really excited to see what I could accomplish as an elected official. So yeah, I'm really excited to be back, but I haven't left, so here we are.
What lessons did you learn from 2013?
You know what, one of the key lessons that I learned in the last election is that we need to be a little bit more patient. This whole process doesn't happen just overnight. It takes an incredible amount of work, and we worked hard. But also, we tended to be a little combative last time. Not going to happen this time. People want some representation that is more rounded, and I've learned that. And I spent the last 3 years also on the executive of the BC Liberal Party, which has been a huge learning curve for me. I believe, quite frankly, that I'm a better candidate than I was in 2013. And I have a way better understanding of the needs of this riding, and they're big. As big as this riding. So I have learned a lot through this last 3 years and working with people and listening to people. So overall, David, I'd say that I'm a much better candidate than I was in 2013. And I thought I was a pretty good one.
Yeah, well, you were, but it was obvious to me that you needed some seasoning.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it, and I appreciate that and accept that evaluation. I have all the skills, but I have a bunch to learn, and I have learned, and I've gone through that learning process. So, as I say, I think I'm a much stronger candidate this time, and we're gonna prove that.
Now, a lot can change between now and then, but are you getting a sense of what could be some of the issues that are going to resonate in the next election campaign?
You know what? You bet I do, and one of the things that I'm hearing throughout our riding is associated with early childcare. We have to address that issue because it's not only with people who live here already, young people, the millennials, who want to stay in our communities, but they can't find adequate childcare. And also from attracting new people to our valley, one of the first things, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a doctor or a lawyer or whatever you are, wanting to move to Revelstoke, one of the first things that you ask is, how's the childcare? Who's going to look after my kids? And if we can't provide good solid answers around that, I think we've got a problem, we've got some trouble. So childcare is a big one, environment is a big one. Finding the balance between development and environment, I hear that all the time. Another big one I hear probably more down the valley than up the valley is predator control. We're losing a lot of cattle to predators, wolves, bears. That's a big issue in the south end of the valley. The economy, I hear a lot about the economy. People are very pleased with the state that British Columbia is in right now. Jobs, we need to find ways to create jobs and good paying jobs so we can keep our families here, keep our kids here.
Well, it's the rub of good paying jobs because there are plenty of minimum wage jobs out there, but they're minimum wage.
And that tends to associate itself to some extent with the tourism industry, which is one of the mainstays of our economy. We thank everybody for coming to Revelstoke and to Kimberley and to Invermere and to Golden. But an example would be we're working really hard to get a mine just north of Golden right now that will secure, and if once that deal is signed, that's 170 full-time, good-paying, long-term jobs.
What kind of mine?
It's a gypsum mine, so it exists already, but they want to expand into it. So there's some hurdles that we're working on with the proponent to make sure that we can get them there, because it's a game changer for our region. That's 170 jobs. So to your point, we're looking at longer-term opportunities in terms of our businesses, so we can keep our families in the valley.
Yeah, this is the intersection of the economy and tourism, or traditional economy and tourism, is an interesting one. We have a situation here which is coming up where on Mount McPherson, which is just not that far over here, we've already spent a fair amount of money on turning it into a cross-country ski area. It's got night lighting and everything else, and yet BC Timber Sales wants to see it logged. And there's been an ongoing controversy here for some time that is going to cause, I think, it's going to cause a lot of discussion. You'll see that here in Revelstoke, particularly between now and May 21st. But that's something you should probably be thinking about, is what do you do about that when there are conflicts between traditional industries and things like tourism development.
Not knowing that file,
Yeah.
but knowing how things work, at least in my mind, is that when people sit down and start having a conversation, and a good, solid, well-mediated conversation, great things can come from that. I use the example of the Kicking Horse River and the rafting company in Golden that's just occurred. CP Rail has sat down, initially said no. I mean, and they're in between a rock and a hard place on that particular file. But the community sat down with not only politicians, but with CP Rail, and found a short-term solution to that. So the point of being, although it would be different than the situation that you have here in Revelstoke, it came from solid conversation and support from the general public. So I think that you can find ways and solutions if you just sit down and talk like human beings to each other, and try to figure out a balance there. So that's what I would say, that I, as the MLA, would be happy to lead that kind of opportunity. Yeah.
That's a good answer. What do you think of the other two issues, top issues in your mind?
In the top issues in my mind here is healthcare. I hear a lot about healthcare. In rural British Columbia, we have challenges around healthcare, especially around, to some extent, our seniors. We have to have that access to healthcare. So we'll just keep on going. There we go. All right, so healthcare is a big one. I think a great example up the valley is that Cranbrook has a state-of-the-art hospital. We're very proud of the regional hospital we have in Cranbrook. But say a hospital in Golden River, we still have to have seniors traveling to have certain treatments and so on and so forth. So we have to make sure that those transportation is available to them, that support is available to them. We know that when we live in rural British Columbia, we can't have Vancouver General Hospital in our backyards, but we have to make sure we have access abilities for those healthcare issues. So healthcare is another big one. And again, what I keep hearing time and time again from people is that we have to find ways to create jobs, sustainable jobs. People want to work. So, and the BC Liberals have had a great record of doing that. So I mean, we've got the most jobs created in any province in Canada right now, and that's something the British Columbia should feel very proud about. Yeah. So yeah, a lot. Put it this way, David. There's not a lack of things to do, and there's not a lack of things to fight for. And if there's one thing that I've demonstrated in the last 3 years is that I've been out there fighting, and I've been out there working. And although I'm not an elected MLA, the Premier jokes to me constantly wherever we end up crossing is that I'm the longest standing unelected MLA in the history of the province of British Columbia. So I say Premier, that's funny, but I got to get elected. So,
Okay,
So
that's
lots
it. On that note, I think we'll close this. That's a perfect way to end.
well, thank you very much, David. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm glad to be back. We've got a full year to campaign. I'm going to be in Revelstoke a lot. I love it. I'm going to be in the parade on July 1st. So I look forward to seeing people in Revelstoke again. I'm glad to be back here.
Perfect. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, David.